Twice in a row, an amazing episode. And I know I'm not doing my catchphrase. I don't care. It's stupid anyway. uh, it was meant to be stupid. It's a little irony, if you will. I gotta turn this down. But I don't care. Last episode was very deep, though. Maybe a little too deep. I want to bring it back. First, let me check audio. Always gotta check audio before I get into anything. So you're probably seeing my little mouse go around. That's fine. I'd rather waste time doing this than have to record all over again. Cost-benefit analysis for you. Okay, everything looks fine. I want to talk. Let's not get as deep. I mean, maybe we'll get deep, but we'll get there. I want to talk about Ted Lasso, which I've been watching. I don't have Apple TV, but I found a way to watch it, which may or may not be illegal. I don't care that I'm doing something illegal. Henry David Thoreau, civil disobedience. There you go. I'm disobeying. Streaming services being annoying and a waste of money. The most recent episode, Beard After Hours, was very different. And I didn't like it. I mean, that's all I have to say about it. Because I was looking forward to it all week. Because Ted Lasso, it's not my favorite show ever, but it is funny sometimes. Which is more than I can say for most shows, so it gets a thumbs up from me. But Beard After Hours was not very funny. It reminded me a lot of the one episode in Stranger Things. Who's probably gonna get? Oh, I was actually definitely gonna get it next turn. Is there any? I think that's a shop. Is there any reason to go up? Or... Everybody's going... I guess I should be the individual who takes the different path. Maybe. Because everybody else is going that way. Oh, Boo doesn't have enough money, actually. And if he doesn't win... let's actually try for it. Because Boo, if he doesn't have enough, won't get it. Boo away orb. Yeah, I guess I better get that. Oh yeah, there's the episode of Stranger Things in Season 2 that's just focusing on L, also known as 11, for the whole episode. And it's really different from all the other episodes. It's only focusing on one character, and it's also really boring. That's kind of how I felt about Beard After Hours. Because the reason I like Ted Lasso is because I like the Diamond Dogs. Diamond Dogs are the best. Give me my boy Nate. Give me my boy Leslie. Give me Lasso. I like the puns. But Beard just going around with some sort of key metaphor, which my inner Freudian has to think is a penis. I don't believe Freud, but I think Freud's just fun. I like Freudian psychoanalysis because as long as you're a pervert, you're always right. You just say, that's a penis. And it's like, yep, you got it, you figured it out. That's it. How do I control? Okay. I guess I should just go for... Maybe I should take the territory here to steal from my opponents. That's a move. This is really awkward to control. Oh, I guess it's not awkward. I'm just making it more awkward than it is. I'm thinking that it's tank controls, but it's not. I think I won. That's my big stack over there. My fat stack. Here's a little tip if you want to make money. Put your money into a stock called VTI. Because it's not an individual stock, it's just a collection of stocks. And they've been shown... You're not going to make a lot of money overnight, but over time, it will grow. Bit by bit. That's the way you do it. Go for little things. Little over a big amount of time. People want big change right away. That's not the way you do it. Not in changing yourself, not in changing society. It's not how you do it. Start little and do a little each day. Even you say, I don't want to do it, you say, do a little bit. People say, I don't want to work out today. That's fine, but you gotta do at least 1 push-up or 10 jumping jacks. Do the absolute bare minimum. Because if something's worth doing, it's worth doing badly. That's a phrase I took from the internet. I don't remember who said it, but I think it's well said. People say, I don't want to write today. I'm trying to write a novel, but I don't feel like writing. Write a single sentence. Write a single word. Because, and another thing I found from the internet, right? 0 times 365 is 0. But 0.1 times 365 is 36.5. There you go. 36.5, that's more than 0. Do a little bit. A little bit each day, it adds up. Always gotta do a little bit. A little bit, 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 a little bit. There you go, I said a lot of times to get into your memory. I believe in didacticism. Art should make... Well, not necessarily that it teaches us in a preachy sort of way, but I think that art should make our lives better. I should learn something. After I see a play or look at a piece of art or something, I should think to myself, I must change my life. That's from a Rilke poem, isn't it? The statue. You must change yourself. I like that one. I don't read Rilke, but that was just one poem I read of his. I don't know, take that. I'll just do every 2, I guess. That'll probably work. Yeah. That looks good. Or Rilke. I don't freaking know. I don't read. That's the hard thing about reading. There's so much to read, you gotta just make judgment calls. What do I want to read? What do I not want to read? I don't read a lot of poetry. Which is not uncommon. People don't read poetry. Which is kind of sad. I feel like people should read poetry. Even when I try to read poetry, I'm just, I don't want it. The only poet I ever kind of liked was T.S. Eliot. That's just because I was going through a phase, you know? And even that, I mean, I don't get The Wasteland. I can tolerate The Wasteland because at least it's short. And this is a rant I have, because sometime in the 20th century, writers decided they didn't just want to write long books. They wanted to write long, confusing, esoteric books that are really annoying and no one actually wants to read, but people are told that they're important or insightful, so they have to force themselves to read it. And then, I guess, eventually learn to like it. Maybe it's genuine, I don't know. I mean, I think they genuinely believe it, but I don't know how much it's worth it. I mean, it's not long books, exactly, that's my problem. Because if you look at, say, the 18th or 19th centuries, or even, yeah, actually the 17th, because Don Quixote is a long book. But if you read it, I didn't finish it. I read 2/3 of it. I read enough. But it was a good book. It was actually, you know, fun and funny. And it was a good read, right? And then others, I mean, even Tom Jones, which, I mean, the language is so dated, but it's got a decent plot. There's some stuff I don't like about Tom Jones. I think the romance is just idiotic. I mean, that dude... Tom Jones needs to learn to masturbate or something. I mean, I get that the plot, the idea of the book is, oh, nobody's perfect, we all make mistakes. I'm fine. Okay. If you don't know Tom Jones, this is fine, because I'm about to explain it to you. The book begins... There's a lot that happens, but Tom and his bae, before all else, Jenny Jones, have a thing, kinda, but they're not official yet. And Tom, he's distraught because somebody close to him got really sick, and he's drunk or whatever. So he sleeps with Molly Seagram. He you know, has some sexual intercourse, and of course, the girl that he liked and the girl that likes him is sad about it. Oh, well, he doesn't want me, and Tom is like, I shouldn't have clapped those cheeks, I should have stayed loyal to Bae, right? I like that I'm saying they. I'm trying to appeal to the young crowd. His girl, that's not yet his girl, but then, whatever, he cheats on her, but kind of doesn't cheat on her because they were on a break, whatever. I mean, it's fine. Whatever, he makes a mistake, we're all human, we're not all pure or whatever. But then he cheats on her again with another woman. and he's like, "Oh no, I shouldn't have done that. My beloved Jenny Jones." I think that's her name. I should have stayed loyal to her. And whatever. Again, okay, he cheats on her, but you know what? She was topless and he was horny. Yes, we can forgive it. But he cheats on her a third time. He's still out here having sex. Why? I mean, it's not like monogamy is the only sort of relationship you can have, but Jenny's clearly not happy with it. It makes her very unhappy that Tom will not stop putting his penis in other women. I mean, but then at the very end, spoiler alert, they still get together. Why? I have no idea. Because they're in love. Even though he cannot put his penis away. He can just masturbate. I mean, so... But anyways, this was a long tangent. That's what bothers me with Tom Jones. It's probably one of the funniest moments in any book I've ever read, though. The scene when Tom goes to Molly's house. I'm not gonna ruin it, but there's something very funny that happens that got a good laugh out of me. But anyways, long books, they used to be at least interesting or written for a popular sort of audience. So stuff like, I mean, okay, so some of the stuff that's in English, it's hard to read now because the English is outdated. But at the time, right, stuff like Charles Dickens, I mean, it was serialized, you know? It was a monthly thing, and there were cliffhangers. In fact, the first ever cliffhanger was from a Dickens novel, and then, you know, The Count of Monte Cristo, which I haven't read, but everybody who's read it says it's really good. It's actually an exciting read. Even stuff like Dostoevsky, which is more, I don't know, philosophical or something. I mean, Crime and Punishment reads well if you read it. It's an interesting story. But then, well, Moby Dick is really the first just absolutely atrocious novel in terms of actually having a plot. I mean, even Tristram Shandy is more fun and interesting than frickin' Ulysses or Gravity's Rainbow or Infinite Jest. Right? I mean, of course there's some stuff, there's some references in Tristram Shandy that are hard to get if you don't know it. But there's not, I mean, you can still kind of understand what's going on. There's at least a stream of consciousness. I mean, Tristram Shandy is what it says, the cock and bull story. If you ever heard your grandpa go on a rambling story, that's Tristram Shandy. It's a rambling tale. There's something human about it. Or even Faulkner. And you know when I'm using Faulkner as an example of clarity that we're really in trouble. I mean, The Sound and the Fury, I'm not going to act like I understood it. But at least, you know, I mean, there's 4 sections. At least I know the time. Faulkner actually puts dates for when stuff is happening. Now, Benji's a little bit different. Okay, but he gives some kind of, okay, this is when it's happening. Unlike Infinite Jest. The year of the undergarment. The year of the Whopper. Give me a fucking break. Oh my god. It's so bad it made me swore. Can you believe that? I mean, Gravity's Rainbow. I don't even know what time anything is taking place. I don't know what's going on. I don't really want to know what's going on. Ulysses is just awful. I mean, if you're gonna write a long book, make it somewhat easier fun to read, is my thing. And don't say, oh, but they need to be really long because of how profound they are. Plato's Republic, a book which encapsulates the entirety of Western thought, is 300 pages at most. I'm just not convinced that if I read all 900 pages of Ulysses, or, God forbid, Finnegan's Wake, there's just something so amazing some truth beyond all truths that will change my life. I don't buy it. People need, if you want to write something weird and experimental, make it at least, I don't know, 300 or 400 pages at most. I mean, who's gonna read? This is a book, I haven't read it, but the very premise and reading the first page just makes me so angry. William Gaddis's Jr. Gotta mash that button with my anger for William Gaddis, because it has the worst premise for any book I've ever heard. I mean, did I want to do that? Sure, I guess I wanted to. I'm not paying attention to the game at all. What turn is it? Alright, this is an interesting episode. Okay, the book JR is a book that is all dialogue, but you never know who's speaking. So to be clear, it's dialogue, but they're not identifying the dialogue-y, right? So in an actual normal... Because I don't mind the idea of a story told all through dialogue. That's kind of interesting. But it's not, for example... Is it raining outside? Asked Jim. Why, yes it is, said Jane. There's no asked Jim, there's no said Jane. It's just sentences of people saying things. There's no description. You don't even know who the characters are. What does that do? I mean, I've not read the book, but there's a book by Vonnegut on writing that's called Pity the Reader. Gaddis, please, pity the reader. How does that make the book any more clear, let alone better, to just not say who's speaking in a book that's all dialogue? Just awful. Just an awful premise. I mean, I'm sure there's some literary criticism, postmodernist kind of interpretation. Oh, you don't know who's speaking because the I, the Cartesian ego, has been stripped away or something, but no, I don't care how clever or interesting a point he's trying to make. It's frickin' hard to read, and I don't like it. Make your book actually readable. That's why, even though he's probably very brilliant, I will never be a Hegelian. Many philosophers are Hegelians, and I will never understand why anybody would willingly be a Hegelian. I can't do it. I refuse. I don't even know what to make of this episode. I went on so many tangents. But I will say this about Tom Jones. I have problems with the story, the romance in particular is stupid as hell, but the movie, to its credit, the movie is actually one of the best book-to-film adaptations ever, in capturing the spirit of the novel and cutting out everything that's really not essential. So, if you don't want to read Tom Jones, and frankly, I don't even know why I've read Tom Jones. I mean, there are so many great books I haven't read, but there was some time in my life when I was a teenager and had to prove how smart I was. I wanted to read a big book. For some reason, I read the entirety of Tom Jones. I could have read so many other things, could have done so much else, but I decided I had to read Tom Jones. But the movie, watch the movie. The movie is actually very good. But that's it. I don't even know what to make of this episode, but it's alright. I'm okay with it. Let's see how it turned out. If I can find my mouse. Oh, there it is.